Ramdas was born in India, of course, and his parents died when he was young. And so he was raised largely by his grandmother. One can imagine the psychological effects it might have when your parents die and you're raised by your grandparent. I've heard of people who don't really know their parents. They're given up for adoption. Even though they're raised in decent families, they still have this anger that their parents abandoned them. And when your parent leaves you, there's a psychological effect to that. And so, of course, Guru Ramdas is a totally divine character, but we're trying to just make things a little bit relatable for ourselves. So if you can imagine, just from the very beginning, he was an orphan. And they were not very wealthy people either. He was raised by his grandmother, and he sold beans on the street. He was a vendor on the side of the road, selling beans to people. And so this is how he made his living, and he was a very super serviceful person. So when he heard about the Satguru, the true Guru, he served him as much as he could. So whatever he needed to do to survive, eventually his grandmother passed away. Then it was just him surviving. So every moment of time that he could spare, he was serving the house of the Guru. Whether it was going in the woods and collecting some wood and chopping wood and bringing it into the langar, whether it was cooking the food, whether it was doing hard labor to dig nectar tanks and construction work for gurdwaras and temples, whatever it happened to be, he was putting himself in that 100%. And I'm sure we've all had the missionary spirit at some point of our lives. We want to do a little bit of volunteer work. I mean, raise your hand. You've done help somebody build something, help them build their fence and dig a pit here and there. This is Guru Ramdas all the time. But his name was Jetha. Young man named Jetha was a strict disciple of Guru Ramdas, Guru Amar Das, the third Guru. And when he eventually earned the name Ramdas, this was his spiritual, just like we all got our spiritual names. So he became from Jetha, he got his spiritual name, which was Ramdas. So Ramdas served the house of Guru non-stop, and he almost single-handedly, not single-handedly, but he was the main one to dig the entire nectar tank of the Golden Temple. If you've seen pictures or if you've been to the Golden Temple, you'll see it's a really huge pool. He was the main person always digging in this place. And it was just his life mission to just do whatever the Guru told him. The Guru told him, go dig that pit, dig a nectar tank. So every moment he could, he would hardly sleep. He would sleep a little bit. He'd wake up in the morning, do some seva, prepare some food for the Sangat, serve people, serve the Guru, bathe the Guru. Then he'd go and dig and dig and dig and dig. Today, manual labor is not necessarily the most prestigious work. And you'll see people digging pits, and a lot of times we condescend to them. And the same thing back in those days. A lot of people didn't consider that he was anything. His own family, who were from Lahore. So now they were several hundred miles away. So they all lived in a different place. So his aunts and uncles and cousins lived. They came to visit him where he was, or they came to visit the Guru and this whole scene. And of course, this young boy, Jetha Ramdas, was there. And when they saw him, he was carrying dirt on his head, because this is what he would do all day. And so his kurta had been soiled. He had all kinds of dirt dripping down, and he had mud on his face, and his whole nice clothes were dirty, and they just thought, what a waste. It's, especially in India, they always want you to become a doctor, engineer, or what's the other one? Or a lawyer, yeah. Everybody knew. You got to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. This is to move the family name on. It's all about honor and family name. And here is this guy carrying on the family name. He's basically homeless, and he's carrying dirt on his head. He's a stain on the whole family name. And when they saw him dirty, the first moment they saw him doing basic labor, they were disgusted with seeing him. And they said, it would be better if you were not born. This is the family reunion. You know, Merry Christmas. Would have been better if you were not born. So it's not that, you know, today Guru Ram Das is the Lord of miracles. Today Guru Ram Das, we all basically worship Guru Ram Das. We pray to Guru Ram Das. Back then, there were different people who saw him a little bit differently. Would have been better if you were not born. So just today, how many people are doing seva and somebody doesn't think very highly of them? This kind of stuff could be happening all the time in various ways. But the one thing that that Ram Das had going for him is that there was one person who did see who he was. His family did not see who he was. Maybe he didn't even have any friends who may be able to see who he was. God knows how many of the disciples of Guru Amar Das, the Sikhs themselves, only God knows how many of them could tell who this man was, this young man was. But for sure there was one person who knew exactly who he was, who could see what purity was inside this man. And that's the only person in the world that counts. The only one that really matters. The person who saw what was in him was Guru Amar Das, the true Guru. So this is a great lesson for all of us. Look what happened to this young man. He eventually became the true Guru himself. Guru Ram Das wrote poetry. And some of his poetry, it doesn't say, I became the Guru and I'm floating on a cloud and life is perfect all the time. This is not what his poetry says. He says, Hum rolte firte koi baat na puchta. It means I'm rolling around in the dirt and nobody even cares to ask for me. Can you imagine? Nobody cared for him. But the man who has so much love and service and selflessness in him, nobody cared for him at all. And he wrote that down. Koi baat na puchta. They don't even ask about me. It's like, just imagine you're at a family reunion, you come home, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? And they skip over the one person. They don't care. This is his condition. But then the Satguru cared. The Satguru did ask him how he was. He writes in his poetry, he says, Ho rahe na saka bin dekhe pritama. I cannot live without seeing my beloved. So instead of getting attached to how people treated him or didn't treat him, or being an orphan, or not being very rich and not exactly sure what to do in life, his focus was purely on the master. Forget everything else. It's just the master. That is the only important thing in life. Because the master knows who you are. It doesn't matter who people who are absorbed in illusion. What do you care what they think? They're going to have an illusory vision of you in the first place. You're going to ask advice from people who are absorbed in illusion. What kind of advice do you think you're going to get? Ask advice from the person who has no illusions. I cannot live without seeing my beloved. Water is coming from my eyes, flowing from my eyes. He has lines of Gurbani that say, I cannot sleep at night. I feel that I'm in the darkest age. Things are awful. It's this desperation that he has. Has anybody felt desperate before? In the end of the day, there's only one desperation. That's the longing to belong to God. There's only one pain, is the pain of separation between the individual soul and the universal soul. So don't think that I'm just a simple person and I have my dramas, I have my pain, I have my depression. You know what depression is called in Gurmukhi? It's called Berag. It means I'm in a state of longing. I'm detached. They didn't say depressed. They said I'm dying to see my beloved. So this is his condition. The one who could see who he was married Ram Das to his own daughter. Ram Das became married to the daughter of Guru Amar Das. One day the wife of the true guru, the true guru, it's a huge thing. The Messiah is talking with his wife. And the wife says, we need to marry our daughter to somebody. Who should we marry him to? And the guru says, well, you know better. What kind of man do you think is good for our daughter? And she happens to look out the window, and there's that one servant guy who's always serving beans on the side of the road. And she says, somebody very well-mannered like him, very spiritual guy like him. And this is Ram Dass. And he says, very good, let's call him in. He'll marry our daughter. She said, no, I don't mean him, but just somebody kind of like him. He said, there's nobody like him. He's the only one who is him. Call him in. He'll marry our daughter. So Ram Dass married the daughter of the third guru. Can you imagine the greatest honor, being an orphan who nobody talks about and nobody cares about, and the greatest guru in the world marries you to their own daughter? What a paradigm shift, as we can say in the modern age. We have to keep bringing it back to this day. We have sevadars. We have people who do service. In the Western culture, honestly, we do have a lot of insightful, heartfelt people, but as a whole, as a culture, we're a lot more attached to the outside. And the same back then. Who was the shining Sikh in the day of the Guru? Could have been somebody else. People are always betting on the different this person was going to become the next Guru, or that person's going to become the next Guru. Nobody expected when one day the true Guru called him on stage, said, Ram Dass, you come sit on stage. And Ram Dass, the servant, said, sir, I really don't want to. And the Guru said, I'm calling you, come sit on the stage. Why don't you want to come on stage? He says, because that's where you sit. If I sit there, then how am I going to look up to you as my Guru? It's mind-bending how much love Guru Ram Dass has. And he says, you're a student, you obey, you come sit on the stage. And the moment Ram Dass sat on the stage, he became the true Guru. He became the next Guru of the Sikhs, of the world. And the first act that he did was to cry. So here he has attained the greatest honor, even much greater paradigm shift than marrying the daughter of the true Guru. He became the next Guru himself. And he's sitting on the stage, the throne of the Guru. And he starts crying. And the Guru says, why are you crying in this time of celebration? And Guru Ram Dass says, because I can't forget those days I was walking in the streets. I'll never forget the days of my life where all I could do is have desperation to meet you and to serve you. I don't ever want to forget that. So he never stopped crying. Guru Ram Dass never stopped crying. He comes and sits on a stage and he's singing with Kirtan. Just imagine, you're coming to go see the Pope, you're coming to go see the President, you're coming to see the City Singh Sahib, Yogi Bhajan, the court, that they have, the sense of being with these great people. Imagine going in that court and seeing this person, this important person that you came to see, is sitting with the regular people while the musicians are playing music. And everybody's singing along, the musicians are singing. And the true Guru of the world is crying, singing music, sitting with you hand in hand. What's that going to do to your mentality? The consciousness of Guru Ram Dass is absolutely unfathomable. Guru Ram Dass would, now he became the true Guru. People are traveling from all over the world to see him. And they would come and they'd arrive in Amritsar. And there was a little, people are walking or on donkeys and goats, and God knows it's not the same as taking a 2-hour flight to go from LA to New York or whatever it is. It was very difficult to travel. And so the travel-weary people would have to stay some night, and the Sikhs would take care of them. And one beautiful Sikh would go to the pilgrims and take them into the house where they're going to stay, the free house where they're going to stay, serve them some water, give them some food, And then he'd wash their feet with his own hands. And then he had a very long beard, this one servant. So these people come in and they see these Sikhs are so serviceable. They're so beautiful. These disciples of the Guru, look how devotional they are. They're so hospitable. And then that servant washes their feet with water and then dries it off with his long beard. This is the ultimate sign of subservience, because the beard is the highest sign of respect. And to put your beard on somebody's foot is an extreme symbol of devotion. And that's something you would do, that a servant does to a king. So now, just a person coming to see the Guru, they're treated with this kind of respect because the pilgrim has that longing, has that pain of separation. So these pilgrims are very impressed with this Sikh of the Guru. Then the next morning they come to the court of Guru Ram Das. They see it's that same person. He just washed our feet this morning. He just tucked us into bed. Then he changed his clothes and he came and sat on the throne. This is Guru Ram Das. Guru Ram Das is basically an unfathomable character. And so you're in the home of Guru Ram Das. You've come to the home of Guru Ram Das. So join him in being in this unfathomable place. Open yourself up to be with he who cannot, you can't. I've meditated, I've prayed, I've contemplated. I've never been able to reach the bottom of his feet where they land. You can't contemplate his thoughts, how far high they go. The depth of the inside of Guru Ram Das is so deep and so inner core. We can't reach these things that he is. He's higher and lower and more inside and more expanded than we can imagine. So join Guru Ram Das now that you're in his city. Open yourself up to the heart and the love of Guru Ram Das. This is a love you can't understand. We can't understand. One time I was at the Golden Temple. I was just walking around. I'm a teenage dude. We're all cool dudes in India, and we look like really sharp Sikh guys, and we're really cool. And I was walking around the Golden Temple one time, and it's, of course, a very special time. Always loved going there. And one day, I just was in a kind of vaguely contemplative mood, and somehow, just a tear came to my eye. And just something happened, just for a moment, just for a second. Some mood came over me, and just a tear just started to form in my eye. And at that moment, I couldn't contemplate what that feeling was or what that mode was, but the word that I could actually, because words don't do any justice, but if any word can do some kind of justice, the word that I got out of that moment was, to understand Guru Ram Das is to cry. We can chant, we can sing, we can do yoga. We'll do yoga. We'll continue. We'll do all this stuff. But the moment you get with Guru Ram Das is the moment that you cry with him. He's the crying Guru. And don't be ashamed to cry ever. If you ever cry, feel that you're crying with Guru Ram Das in the way that he cried. In pure longing to be with God. To pure longing to be with the Master. This is what is available for you here. I promise you he's here. And you can meet him if you open up to that.